Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, right? Today we're going to be talking about altcoins, okay? Here is the deal, right? Here is the deal that I know a lot of people think it is over for altcoins. And let me tell you, right? Let me tell you, of course, if World War III would break out or something like that, yeah, but then it's the whole crypto market's going to take a hit and some other markets and etc. But despite that, we are actually on track to getting closer and closer to altcoin season. Now, I know there's this one person that says, altcoins this, altcoins that. He has like 1 million followers on Twitter. He always loves talking about Bitcoin dominance and etc. I think his name is Conan, maybe. I don't even know. I don't know. Benjamin. I don't even know. It doesn't matter. But I always know he's just like, kind of crappy on altcoins. But the thing is, altcoins will have their days of glory very, very soon, right? They will have the glory days very, very soon. Okay. And the reason why I say very soon is because, sure, the last few weeks of Bitcoin dominance was very turtle-like, right? We kind of peaked in the beginning of May and then we dumped down, right? Then we went a little bit lower in May. But then the last few weeks, we have been recovering slowly. We can see, right? But we talked about it, right? We talked about it that we were creating consistent higher and higher and higher and higher and higher highs, right? As well as, of course, higher lows also do help, okay? So we knew that Bitcoin dominance is going to be on the rise. Now, when altcoins suffer the most is when Bitcoin dominance rises and Bitcoin itself goes down because it's a double negative, okay? Now, just because, here's the deal. Not every time Bitcoin dominance goes up, it means altcoins are going to bleed, okay? It just simply means, the amount of money in Bitcoin is more. But I've explained this before, and I'll use a very simple example, right? If you have $1 million, let's just say, in the crypto markets, obviously we're way past that point, but that's not the point. If you had 50% dominance, then you have 500K in Bitcoin, let's say 500K in altcoins, okay? But let's do scenario 2, where you have 70% dominance, but there's $10 million involved, right? Yeah, sure, you have $7 million in Bitcoin, 70% dominance, but you do have $3 million in altcoins. So altcoins did rise. So even though the ratio gets worse, as long as there's more money that makes up for this ratio, it is ultimately fine, which is one thing that has been very, very annoying, right? If we go to look at like the total, right, which is the total crypto market cap, we have been, suffering, right? We have been suffering. We kind of peaked mid-May, and ever since then, the money has been kind of getting, slowly drained out of the crypto markets. Now, I still think we are ultimately bullish. I still do believe there will be a huge rally to the upside, at least to 6 trillion market cap, potentially even more. Like, I think a 6 to 9 trillion is the most ideal, which is why I would be looking to be, looking for the tops somewhere here. Now, of course, it could go higher. Of course, it could lower. I don't really care about speculation. Speculation and predictions get you so far, right? Some people think, me saying I wanted to go to 9 trillion means it's going to go to 9 trillion. No, that's just a speculation, right? But I do believe it's going to do very, very well. Like I said, the only thing that can stop it is the World War III. But obviously, at that point, we have bigger issues to deal with. But yeah, right? I do expect a lot more money to be coming into these markets, unless, of course, over the next couple of weeks, it does look very, very grim. The only thing that I'm looking out for is how Bitcoin ends at the end of June, okay? Because on the Bitcoin chart, there is a very, very important 3-month candle. We do not want this 3-month candle to end weak, so we don't want to go back to 92K, right? Even though there's a gap at 92K, and, we would be retesting the most fundamental way. Just in terms of the timing of the 3-month candle, I do not want that to happen. It would not be very, very ideal. Okay, and altcoins would also bleed out a lot. But yeah, we will go back to Bitcoin dominance in just a sec. We will go to others.d, which is practically the dominance, right, for what is it called? For altcoins. So we can see, right? I wrote over here, still looking for a rebound roughly off of this 6.50% zone. Doesn't mean once we hit it, it will 100% come up from here, but there's a very high probability. Of course, we need confirmation on the lower time frame, right? That's what some people sometimes don't understand is that, yeah, I give out certain zones, but doesn't mean we're just going to go bing, bang, boom right away. Okay. But we can see, right? Very, very slow sell off with terms of altcoins dominance the last few weeks. And we have a little bit of recovery. I still do think we are probably going to go a little bit lower, right? The thing is, ladies and gentlemen, I expect something like this to happen, right? Where there's some type of weakness, fake out, and then sell off, and then we start pushing up, right? We had weakness, we had the fake out, sell off, and we could still potentially go a little bit lower. But even if we don't, right, it's still pretty close, 6.80% compared to 6.50, whatever, right? But the point is, we expected some type of pullbacks, even when people are optimistic here or here or here, right? We expected some pretty big pullbacks. But the thing is, once we get to this area, or once we even start recovering now, we should really start flying over the next few months. That is why I still believe if there is going to be an altcoin season, which, I say if, because of course, once again, the war, that it probably will be late summer to, I guess, like mid fall at this point, right? So, that's something we've been talking about for months now. And yeah, we still expect to get to this zone over here. Like I said, once again, just because we get to this zone doesn't mean we're going to necessarily sell off, but we are getting closer, right? Beginning mid-May, we were at 62% dominance. Now we're almost at 66. There is a lot of imbalance up until, I'd say, 70%. So, I do expect the Bitcoin dominance to kind of just start moving a little bit quicker over the next few weeks. That would be very, very ideal. Like I said, we need to, for us to see altcoins really start seeing some type of gain, we need to break structure, right? We just need to break structure the way it broke structure here, right? It pumped up and then it dumped, right? When we go something like the weekly, it just sold off heavily. So yeah, once we get that, that means altcoins, the big altcoin season is right around the corner, but altcoins will still be recovering once Bitcoin dominance sells off. We saw the same thing happen when we're at 61.50%, and we went back down to, let's say, roughly 55%, right? That 6.5% drop off caused a lot of coins to double, triple, or even quadruple, right? We saw it. XRP went from 55 cents up towards $3, right? Where something like Render was just like a little bit over $4, and it went slightly under $12. So we saw how crazy things can really truly get. When the dominance drops. But yeah, that is ultimately it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye. Also, to end off the video, I keep forgetting about this. I do have to tell you guys that the Discord is open right now. And if you do want to become part of the private community, highly recommend it, as you do get information to other coins that I have been buying, scouting, and of course, a portfolio review, which is very, very crucial because the next few months are going to be crazy, right? The next few months, I do believe, will be crazy. And this is practically it, right? You do not want to have something bad when it comes to altcoin season. See only like a potential 2 or 3x gains while everyone's making 10x that. But yeah, this is the official outro. I love you guys so much. Everything will return back to normal in a few days once I'm back from my vacation. But that is it. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. For real this time. Goodbye.